But we do continue our celebrations of Heritage Month here on your Feel Good Breakfast show. And if you haven't seen it yet, it's called Rainbow Makers, a tribute series, a brand new series on SABC 2 that airs at 8 p.m. on Sunday evenings. And it celebrates the untold stories of South Africa in a very entertaining and informative way. And I think something that it's high time that we see stories like that. And we've got the lovely, the beautiful, the most talented, amazing Greta Fox here with us to tell us all about it. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
To
At this
you.
time of the morning, not so wonderfully amazing, but anyway.
It's good to have you here.
It's great to be here.
Let's talk a little bit about this because, we're always trying to drive the point home about how important it is that we talk about South African stories.
Absolutely. Now, this is an absolute obsession of mine that we don't lose our history and that we have an archive of all these people who are disappearing, these stories that are disappearing, these untold stories, these missing stories. And what's wonderful about this series of four-part documentaries is these people, Mandy Jacobson, the wonderful Mandy Jacobson, who's a documentary filmmaker, who has won an Emmy Award, people.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
And she has actually done 150 interviews with people, if you can imagine. They've got this huge archive of material, and they're making these documentaries. This is a four-part series, but I can assure you...
And there's the lovely lady right there.
Mandy. Mandy!
Yes.
There's the lovely Mandy. And I think there are going to be many more. I hope these four are absolutely brilliantly done. Wow. And especially the one I was in. I shouldn't say that. It's called the 10-Year Tightrope. And these series, by the way, go out at 9 o'clock.
Is it 9 p.m.
21 hours. I had to learn this off by heart because I had to tell everybody. 21 hours, Sunday nights, SABC 2.
Yes.
And they are fantastic documentaries. I can vouch for. People must look at these things
and watch them. We know you as an actress, and I mean, here you are. You're one of the hosts. You're a South African icon. 20 years of democracy. Yes, 20 years of democracy. We're celebrating people like Winnie Madikizela Mandela. Thabo Mbeki's being interviewed. What does it mean for you being part of a series like this? I mean, you just said it. Stories that are untold, or even stories that we forget about. What does it mean for you
thing. Stories
as
that
an icon?
Absolutely,
I know.
Stories to forget about. I forgot about the story that I'm actually presenting. Which was amazing. I had to remind myself of all this amazing history because I was very privileged, and this features quite strongly in the documentary, The 10-Year Tightrope. It interviews all these marvelous people that shaped our history, and the main person being Dr. Frederick van Zyl-Slabbert, my absolute hero. Now, this gentleman, I want everybody to know more about him because, you know, if this history disappears, I'll be very sad because this man was a very important person in our history. And he put together this thing called the Dakar Conference. I don't know if anybody has heard of this. The first delegation of South Africans that went to meet with the exiled ANC in 1987 was called the Dakar Conference. I was very privileged to be part of that as a very young person. My father was invited, my late husband was invited, and I was invited by Dr. Frederick van Zyl-Slabbert. We went there to meet our heroes. We arrived there, and there we see Thabo Mbeki, Kada Asmal, all the heroes. Well, I tell you, it was a completely overwhelming experience.
I think the good thing right now is that I don't think there's any fear that these stories will disappear because they're getting engaged with on social media. The first episode that aired called a tribute to the frontline states, which was about 3 generations of the Sisulu family, trended online. So there's a lot of engagement as well where people talk about it on social media. But I think for you, it must be quite an honor to think that you are telling these stories so in your own way you're making history.
Well, it was a huge honor because I'm an actress and people see me as that. People don't see me as part of South Africa's history, or albeit a tiny, modest little part. And actually having to present something in a documentary that's part of history was pretty overwhelming. And the fact that it was so beautifully done. We shot it over a long time and a lot of trouble was taken. We shot lots of it in the Apartheid Museum, which I'd been to. But to actually spend weeks in the Apartheid Museum, I know it intimately. Looking at everything, and I will recommend to everybody who hasn't been there if you want to know about our history. It's a spectacular museum. People from all over the world think it's one of the best in the world.
Wow, well, it is the best in the world, and we want to see it, and we want to see the remarkable stories. Well, you heard at 9 o'clock every Sunday on SABC 2. You can't just see Greta. Greta will be there. She's one of the people presenting, but you can see all of South African history being played off again, and it's so important. I love Heritage Month. Doesn't it remind you where you come from?
Yeah, exactly.
You touch base on all that important stuff.
And how much we really have to be be thankful for. And I think it's when we
Definitely.
take opportunities like this to introspect and look at where we come from that we really learn to love the Rainbow Nation even more. So, of course, remember to catch it. It's called Rainbow Makers, a tribute series on SABC2 at 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
Don't miss it, guys. You'll be so surprised at your wonderful history. You really will be.
Thank you so
Thanks
much.
for
We really
coming.
appreciate it.
We really love you.
It was
on
wonderful to
screens.
meet
And
I'm a fan. Hi,
I got to
Greta.
touch her. I got to touch her. Ewan, over to you.